Men are moved by two levers only: fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte. Most people believe conversations are about exchanging information. They think that if they just say what's on their mind clearly and honestly, everyone else will do the same. This is a dangerous fantasy. Every interaction is a negotiation, a subtle dance for power and influence. People rarely say what they truly mean. They hide behind pleasantries, manipulate with carefully chosen words, and pursue hidden agendas you might never suspect. The world is filled with skilled deceivers, masters of social camouflage. They use your assumptions about honesty against you, turning your naivete into a weapon they wield effortlessly. This isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. It's about understanding that beneath the surface of every friendly chat lies a complex game of strategy, where everyone is trying to get something, whether they admit it or not. The sooner you accept this reality, the sooner you can stop being a pawn and start playing the game yourself. We aren't teaching cynicism, we are teaching clarity. We are teaching you to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. To ignore the hidden agendas is to walk blindly into a trap, surrendering your power to those who understand the game better than you. Forget the idea of simple communication. Embrace the reality of social chess. Every word, every gesture, every silence is a move. Are you ready to learn how to play? Hidden agendas aren't simply about lying. They are born from a deeper, more complex interplay of human motivations. Consider the fundamental drive for validation. Everyone seeks approval, recognition, and a sense of belonging. This inherent need often manifests as subtle manipulations within conversations. People might exaggerate their accomplishments, downplay their flaws, or strategically agree with your opinions, all in an effort to gain your favor and bolster their own self-esteem. This isn't necessarily malicious, but it is a hidden agenda, a motivation beyond the simple exchange of information. Another key driver is the desire for control. In every social interaction, there's a subtle power dynamic at play. Individuals instinctively seek to influence the conversation, steer the direction of the discussion, and ultimately control the outcome. This control can manifest in various ways, from subtle interruptions and topic changes to more overt displays of dominance, such as speaking over others or dismissing their viewpoints. The psychology of hidden agendas is also deeply rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, fear of being perceived as weak or incompetent. These fears can drive people to conceal their true feelings, distort their narratives, and present a carefully crafted persona designed to protect them from potential harm. Think about the last time you disagreed with someone in authority. Did you express your true feelings, or did you tailor your response to avoid conflict or negative consequences? This self-censorship, this calculated presentation of self, is a prime example of a hidden agenda driven by fear. Furthermore, the human brain is wired for efficiency. We are constantly seeking shortcuts, mental heuristics that allow us to navigate the complexities of social interaction with minimal cognitive effort. This inherent bias can lead us to make assumptions about others, to project our own beliefs and values onto them, and to interpret their actions through the lens of our own experiences. These assumptions often blind us to the hidden agendas that may be lurking beneath the surface. We see what we expect to see, rather than what is actually there. The desire for resources, whether tangible or intangible, also fuels hidden agendas. People may engage in subtle flattery, offer unsolicited advice, or feign interest in your hobbies, all with the ultimate goal of gaining access to something you possess, whether it's your expertise, your connections, or simply your good graces. This isn't always about material gain. It can also be about accessing social capital, improving one's status, or gaining an advantage in a competitive environment. The competitive nature of human interaction cannot be ignored. From vying for promotions at work to navigating complex family dynamics, life is often a zero-sum game, where one person's gain is another person's loss. This inherent competition can drive individuals to employ manipulative tactics, conceal their true intentions, and pursue hidden agendas designed to undermine their rivals and advance their own interests. Finally, consider the role of societal conditioning. From a young age, we are taught to conform to social norms, to suppress our emotions, and to prioritize the needs of others over our own. This conditioning can lead to a disconnect between our true selves and the persona we present to the world. We learn to wear masks, to play roles, and to engage in subtle forms of deception in order to navigate the complexities of social life. This isn't necessarily a conscious choice. It's often an ingrained habit, a deeply ingrained pattern of behavior that we may not even be aware of. Understanding these psychological drivers is the first step towards recognizing and neutralizing hidden agendas. It's about moving beyond a naive belief in surface-level honesty and embracing a more nuanced understanding of human motivation. Let's examine a scenario ripped straight from the headlines of the corporate battlefield. Imagine a high-stakes merger looming between two powerful companies, Titan Corp and Novatech Solutions. On the surface, it appears to be a mutually beneficial partnership, a strategic alliance designed to synergize resources and dominate the market. Publicly, the CEOs are all smiles, touting the innovative potential and shared values that make this merger a perfect fit. But behind the closed doors of mahogany-paneled boardrooms, a far more treacherous game is unfolding. Sarah Chen, the ambitious CFO of Novatech, is secretly maneuvering to secure the top financial position in the newly formed entity. She knows that the current CFO of Titan Corp, a seasoned veteran named Mark Thompson, is the obvious choice, the presumed successor. Sarah's hidden agenda is to discredit Mark, subtly undermining his reputation and planting seeds of doubt in the minds of the key decision-makers. She begins by discreetly leaking carefully curated information to industry analysts, painting a picture of Titan Corp's financial performance as slightly less robust than publicly reported. She frames it as friendly advice, a cautionary tale designed to help the merger go smoothly, but the underlying message is clear. Titan's financial leadership might not be as sharp as everyone believes. Simultaneously, Sarah cultivates a close relationship with a powerful board member, Robert Sterling, known for his risk aversion and tendency to favor fresh perspectives. She subtly feeds him anxieties about Mark's old-school approach, emphasizing the need for a more forward-thinking financial strategist to navigate the challenges of the rapidly evolving tech landscape. She doesn't directly criticize Mark, of course. That would be too obvious. Instead, she uses carefully crafted anecdotes and hypothetical scenarios to plant the idea that a younger, more agile CFO might be better suited to lead the new company into the future. The beauty of Sarah's manipulation lies in its subtlety. She never makes explicit accusations or demands. She simply sows seeds of doubt, allowing others to draw their own conclusions. She leverages pre-existing biases and anxieties, amplifying them to achieve her desired outcome. She understands that perception is reality, and that even the most accomplished individual can be undermined by a carefully orchestrated campaign of whispers and innuendo. Meanwhile, Mark, oblivious to Sarah's machinations, focuses on the technical aspects of the merger, diligently analyzing financial statements and projecting future performance. He trusts that his years of experience and proven track record will speak for themselves. He underestimates the power of hidden agendas and the ruthlessness of corporate politics. The situation escalates when a minor accounting error is discovered in Titan Corp's financial records. It's a relatively insignificant mistake, easily corrected, but Sarah seizes the opportunity to amplify its importance. She subtly hints that the error could be a sign of deeper systemic problems, questioning Mark's oversight and attention to detail. She doesn't directly accuse him of negligence, but she raises enough questions to create an atmosphere of uncertainty and suspicion. Robert Sterling, already primed by Sarah's earlier suggestions, becomes increasingly concerned. He begins to doubt Mark's ability to manage the complex financial challenges of the merged company. He starts to see Sarah as a viable alternative, a fresh face with the energy and vision to lead the finance department into the future. As the merger negotiations reach their final stages, the decision regarding the CFO position becomes a critical point of contention. Mark, confident in his qualifications, assumes that he will be the natural choice, but he's in for a rude awakening. Robert Sterling, swayed by Sarah's subtle campaign of manipulation, champions her candidacy. He argues that her innovative ideas and forward-thinking approach make her the ideal leader for the new company. The other board members, influenced by Robert's opinion and the lingering doubts about Mark's performance, begin to waver. In the end, Sarah wins. She secures the coveted CFO position, not through merit or superior qualifications, but through a carefully orchestrated campaign of hidden agendas and subtle manipulation. Mark is left bewildered and betrayed, a victim of corporate politics and the ruthless pursuit of power. This scenario highlights the importance of recognizing and neutralizing hidden agendas in the real world. It demonstrates how even the most talented and experienced individuals can be undermined by those who are willing to play the game of deception. It underscores the need to be vigilant, to question assumptions, and to look beneath the surface of social interactions. The ability to detect hidden agendas is not just a valuable skill, it's a survival mechanism in the complex and often treacherous landscape of human relationships. The trap springs when the victim, like Mark, operates under the flawed assumption that merit and competence alone dictate outcomes. This naivety blinds them to the undercurrents of social dynamics. The unspoken power plays constantly shaping reality. They believe in a meritocracy, a system where the best person always wins, a comforting illusion that shields them from the uncomfortable truth. The game is rigged. Hidden agendas thrive in the shadows of this delusion, flourishing in the space between what is said and what is truly meant. Sarah understands this perfectly. She doesn't rely on direct confrontation or overt displays of ambition. Instead, she cultivates influence, strategically planting seeds of doubt and subtly steering the narrative in her favor. Her actions are veiled, her intentions obscured by a veneer of professionalism and collaboration. This makes her manipulations difficult to detect, as they are woven into the fabric of everyday interactions. Mark, meanwhile, remains focused on his work, diligently performing his duties, confident that his efforts will be recognized and rewarded. He fails to grasp the importance of perception, the power of narrative control, and the insidious nature of hidden agendas. He's a chess player who only sees the pieces on the board, oblivious to the hands moving them from behind the curtain. This blindness is not simply a lack of awareness, it's a strategic vulnerability. It renders him incapable of anticipating Sarah's moves, of recognizing the subtle shifts in power dynamics, and of defending himself against her calculated manipulations. He's essentially playing a different game, one with rules that no longer apply, a game where competence is not enough. The weakness lies in the inability to perceive the social landscape as a battlefield, a space where alliances are forged and broken, where information is weaponized, and where appearances often mask deeper, more sinister intentions. To avoid this trap, one must adopt a more cynical, more strategic mindset. One must learn to question everything, to assume nothing, and to constantly analyze the motivations of others. This doesn't mean becoming paranoid or distrustful, but rather developing a heightened awareness of the subtle cues and hidden agendas that shape our interactions. It means understanding that every conversation is a negotiation, every relationship a potential power struggle, and every social interaction a carefully choreographed performance. Only by recognizing the game can you hope to play it effectively. Only by seeing the hidden agendas can you hope to neutralize them. Mark's downfall is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that in the real world, competence is only one piece of the puzzle. The ability to navigate the complex web of social dynamics, to detect hidden agendas, and to exert influence is equally, if not more, important. The failure to recognize this truth is a fatal flaw, a weakness that can be exploited by those who are willing to play the game with a darker set of rules. The Machiavellian approach begins with the acceptance of a fundamental truth. People rarely say what they truly mean. Words are tools, deployed strategically to achieve specific objectives, often unrelated to the literal meaning of the sentence itself. Understanding this disconnect is the first step towards deciphering hidden agendas. Look beyond the surface-level conversation and consider the underlying motivations. What does this person stand to gain by saying this? What are they trying to protect? What power dynamic are they attempting to establish? Every statement should be viewed as a calculated move, designed to influence your perception and ultimately your actions. This requires a constant state of vigilance, a refusal to accept anything at face value. Become a student of human behavior, meticulously observing patterns, inconsistencies, and subtle shifts in demeanor. Pay attention not just to what is said, but how it is said, the tone of voice, the body language, the micro-expressions that betray the true emotions lurking beneath the surface. These nonverbal cues are often far more revealing than the carefully crafted words themselves. Learn to identify the common tactics used to manipulate and deceive. Flattery, for example, is a classic tool for gaining favor and clouding judgment. Recognize it for what it is, an attempt to lower your defenses and make you more susceptible to influence. Similarly, guilt-tripping is a manipulative strategy designed to exploit your empathy and force you into compliance. See through the emotional appeal and focus on the underlying agenda. What are they really asking for, and why are they using guilt to get it? Another common tactic is the use of social pressure. People are often swayed by the opinions and actions of others, especially those they admire or fear. Manipulators exploit this tendency by creating a sense of urgency or scarcity, making you feel like you need to act quickly to avoid missing out. Be aware of this pressure and resist the urge to conform simply for the sake of fitting in. Take the time to assess the situation objectively and make your own decision, regardless of what others may think. Information control is another crucial aspect of the Machiavellian approach. Knowledge is power, and those who control the flow of information can exert significant influence over others. Be wary of those who selectively share information, withholding crucial details or framing events in a way that benefits their own agenda. Seek out multiple sources of information and verify claims independently. Don't rely solely on the information you are given, but actively seek out the truth for yourself. Cultivate a network of trusted advisors who can provide you with different perspectives and challenge your assumptions. The ability to anticipate the moves of others is also essential. Try to think several steps ahead, considering the potential consequences of your actions and the likely reactions of those around you. Play out different scenarios in your mind and prepare yourself for any eventuality. This requires a deep understanding of human psychology and a keen awareness of the social dynamics at play. Learn to identify the personality types most likely to engage in manipulative behavior. Narcissists, for example, are often driven by a need for admiration and control, and they will stop at nothing to get what they want. Psychopaths, on the other hand, lack empathy and remorse, making them capable of extreme cruelty and deception. Understanding these personality traits can help you to identify potential threats and protect yourself from harm. Finally, remember that the Machiavellian approach is not about becoming a ruthless manipulator yourself. It is about understanding the tactics used by others so that you can defend yourself against them. The goal is not to exploit or deceive, but to protect your own interests and navigate the social landscape with greater awareness and control. By learning to see the hidden agendas that drive human behavior, you can empower yourself to make more informed decisions, build stronger relationships, and achieve your goals without being manipulated or taken advantage of. It's about recognizing the game and playing it on your terms, not theirs. To that end, recognizing and understanding the unspoken contracts is equally vital. Every interaction carries with it a set of implied obligations, often unacknowledged but deeply felt. Are you expected to reciprocate a favor? Are you being subtly pressured to agree with a certain viewpoint? These unspoken agreements can be powerful tools of manipulation, especially when they are used to create a sense of obligation or guilt. Learn to identify these unspoken contracts and to negotiate the terms on which you are willing to participate. Don't allow yourself to be pressured into agreements that are not in your best interest. Be assertive in setting your boundaries and make it clear what you are and are not willing to do. This requires a certain degree of self-awareness and the ability to stand your ground, even in the face of social pressure. Remember, you are not obligated to fulfill every expectation that is placed upon you. You have the right to choose your own path and to make decisions that are in alignment with your own values and goals. Don't be afraid to say no, even if it means disappointing others. Your own well-being and autonomy should always be your top priority. Cultivating emotional detachment is another crucial aspect of the Machiavellian approach. Emotional responses can cloud your judgment and make you more vulnerable to manipulation. Learn to observe your own emotions and to understand how they are influencing your thoughts and actions. Practice detaching yourself from the situation and viewing it from a more objective perspective. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions entirely, but rather learning to manage them and prevent them from controlling your decisions. Develop the ability to remain calm and rational under pressure, even when faced with difficult or stressful situations. This will allow you to think more clearly and make better decisions, even when others are trying to manipulate you emotionally. Remember, emotions are powerful tools, and those who can control their own emotions are better equipped to control the emotions of others. The ability to project an image of confidence and competence is also essential. People are more likely to trust and respect those who appear to be in control. Project an air of authority, even if you don't feel entirely confident on the inside. Stand tall, make eye contact, and speak with a clear and decisive voice. Dress appropriately for the situation and pay attention to your body language. Avoid fidgeting or appearing nervous. Cultivate a strong personal brand and project an image that is consistent with your goals and values. Remember, perception is reality, and how others perceive you will have a significant impact on your ability to influence them. The Machiavellian approach is not about being liked or loved. It is about being respected and feared. While it is important to maintain positive relationships with others, it is also important to assert your authority and to command respect. Don't be afraid to challenge others or to disagree with them, even if it means risking their disapproval. Stand up for your beliefs and be willing to fight for what you believe in. People are more likely to respect those who are willing to stand up for themselves and for what they believe in. However, it is also important to be strategic in your approach. Choose your battles carefully and avoid engaging in unnecessary conflict. Learn to pick your moments and to use your power wisely. The goal is not to alienate others, but to command their respect and to establish your authority. Remember, power is a resource, and it should be used judiciously. To conclude, mastering the Machiavellian approach involves understanding, anticipating, and strategically navigating human behavior to achieve one's goals. It requires a constant state of vigilance, a deep understanding of psychology, and the ability to control one's own emotions and project an image of confidence and competence. It's not necessarily about being ruthless, but about recognizing the realities of social dynamics and playing the game with awareness and intention, ensuring you are the master of your own fate, not a pawn in someone else's game. It is a continuous process of learning, adapting, and refining one's skills in order to navigate the complex and often treacherous landscape of human interaction. Just as empires throughout history have veiled their expansionist ambitions behind rhetoric of peace and prosperity, individuals often mask their personal agendas with displays of benevolence and cooperation. Consider the Roman Empire, initially presenting itself as a republic safeguarding its allies, but gradually consolidating power through strategic alliances and military interventions, ultimately transforming into an autocratic regime. This mirrors the individual who offers unsolicited help, seemingly driven by altruism, yet subtly maneuvering to create a dependency that grants them control over the situation or the person they're assisting. The Trojan horse serves as a potent metaphor, a gift presented with apparent goodwill concealing a hidden force poised to undermine the recipient from within. Similarly, in social dynamics, seemingly innocent gestures can be Trojan horses, carrying concealed intentions aimed at manipulating or controlling the recipient. The key lies in discerning the underlying motives beneath the surface of apparent kindness. The Peloponnesian War, a protracted conflict between Athens and Sparta, illustrates how alliances can be exploited for personal gain. Athens, initially leading the Delian League for mutual defense against Persia, transformed it into an Athenian empire, using the League's resources and military power to advance its own interests, much to the detriment of its allies. This reflects the individual who joins a team or a group, ostensibly to contribute to a shared goal, but subtly steers the group's direction to align with their own agenda, often at the expense of the collective's original purpose. Just as Athens exploited the Delian League for its own imperialistic ambitions, individuals can exploit relationships and alliances to advance their personal agendas, using the resources and influence of the group to achieve their own aims. The ability to recognize these patterns of exploitation is crucial for protecting oneself and one's interests. Military strategy provides a rich source of analogies for understanding hidden agendas. Sun Tzu's Art of War emphasizes the importance of deception and knowing your enemy. A key principle is to make your opponent believe something that is not true, to mislead them about your intentions and capabilities. This principle translates directly to social interactions. For instance, an individual might feign weakness or ignorance to lower another person's guard, creating an opportunity to exploit their vulnerability later. This is the equivalent of a military feint, where a small force is used to draw the enemy's attention away from the main attack. Similarly, in negotiations, someone might express willingness to concede on minor points to create the illusion of compromise, while secretly maneuvering to secure a major advantage on a more critical issue. The ability to detect these deceptive tactics is essential for navigating social interactions successfully. The concept of divide and conquer, employed by Julius Caesar to subdue Gaul, is another relevant historical parallel. By exploiting divisions among the Gallic tribes, Caesar prevented them from uniting against him, making them easier to conquer individually. This strategy is often replicated in social settings, where individuals with hidden agendas might attempt to sow discord among colleagues or friends to weaken their relationships and increase their own influence. This can manifest as spreading rumors, gossiping, or deliberately creating misunderstandings between people. By disrupting existing alliances and fostering competition, they create an environment where they can more easily manipulate others and achieve their goals. Recognizing these tactics and resisting the temptation to participate in divisive behavior is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and preventing manipulation. The Cold War serves as an example of prolonged strategic deception. Both the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in extensive espionage and propaganda campaigns to undermine each other's influence and advance their own ideologies. This illustrates how hidden agendas can operate on a grand scale, influencing international relations and shaping global events. On a more personal level, this can be seen in the workplace, where individuals might engage in subtle forms of sabotage or backstabbing to undermine their colleagues and advance their own careers. This can involve taking credit for others' work, spreading negative rumors, or deliberately withholding information. Recognizing these behaviors and protecting oneself from their impact requires a high level of awareness and political savvy. The historical parallels extend beyond military and political strategies to encompass economic and social dynamics as well. The enclosure movement in England, where common lands were privatized, ostensibly to improve agricultural efficiency, resulted in the dispossession of many peasants and the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few landowners. This highlights how seemingly beneficial reforms can mask underlying agendas that serve the interests of a privileged few at the expense of the majority. Similarly, in modern society, policies and initiatives that are presented as being in the public interest can often conceal hidden agendas that benefit specific corporations or individuals. Critical thinking and a willingness to question the stated motives behind policies are essential for uncovering these hidden agendas and protecting oneself from their negative consequences. Therefore, understanding these historical power dynamics is key to identifying their modern-day equivalents. Understanding hidden agendas requires a deep dive into the psychology of motivation. Human behavior, at its core, is driven by a complex interplay of needs, desires, and fears, often operating beneath the surface of conscious awareness. To truly understand why someone is behaving in a particular way, we must look beyond their stated intentions and consider the underlying psychological forces that are at play. This involves recognizing that individuals are not always honest with themselves, let alone with others, about their true motives. They may rationalize their actions, attributing them to noble or altruistic causes, while in reality they are driven by self-interest, power, or a desire for validation. These unconscious drives can significantly influence their behavior and lead them to pursue hidden agendas that are at odds with their stated goals. Therefore, detecting hidden agendas necessitates an understanding of these fundamental psychological principles. The concept of cognitive biases plays a crucial role in the formation and maintenance of hidden agendas. Cognitive biases are systematic patterns of deviation from norm or rationality in judgment, and they can distort our perception of reality and lead us to make irrational decisions. For example, confirmation bias leads us to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs, while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This can lead individuals to develop a distorted view of the world and to justify actions that are harmful to others. Similarly, the availability heuristic leads us to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, such as those that are vivid or emotionally charged. This can lead individuals to make decisions based on fear or prejudice, rather than on reason and evidence. Recognizing these cognitive biases is essential for understanding how hidden agendas are formed and how they can be perpetuated. By being aware of our own biases, we can become more objective in our evaluation of others' motives and intentions, and we can be less susceptible to manipulation. The manipulation of emotions is a common tactic used to further hidden agendas. Emotions are powerful drivers of human behavior, and individuals who are skilled at manipulating emotions can exert considerable influence over others. This can involve appealing to people's fears, anxieties, or insecurities in order to gain their compliance. For example, a politician might use fear-mongering tactics to rally support for a particular policy, or a salesperson might use guilt to persuade a customer to make a purchase. Similarly, individuals might use flattery or praise to ingratiate themselves with others and gain their trust. By understanding how emotions can be manipulated, we can become more resilient to these tactics and protect ourselves from being taken advantage of. This requires developing a healthy skepticism towards emotional appeals and learning to evaluate information objectively, rather than being swayed by emotional rhetoric. It also requires cultivating self-awareness and recognizing our own emotional vulnerabilities so that we can be less susceptible to manipulation. Power dynamics are inherent in all human interactions, and hidden agendas often revolve around the pursuit or maintenance of power. Individuals who are motivated by power may seek to control or dominate others, either directly or indirectly. This can involve using tactics such as intimidation, coercion, or manipulation to achieve their goals. They may also seek to undermine or sabotage those who are perceived as threats to their power. Understanding power dynamics is essential for recognizing hidden agendas and protecting oneself from their negative consequences. This requires being aware of the different forms of power, such as positional power, expert power, and personal power, and recognizing how these forms of power can be used to influence others. It also requires developing strategies for navigating power dynamics effectively, such as assertiveness, negotiation, and coalition building. By understanding and navigating power dynamics, we can mitigate the risk of being exploited by those with hidden agendas and protect our own interests. Furthermore, the art of deception is fundamental to the execution of hidden agendas. Deception takes many forms, from outright lies to subtle omissions and misrepresentations. Individuals who are skilled at deception can effectively conceal their true intentions and manipulate others into believing false narratives. This requires a deep understanding of human psychology and the ability to read people's emotions and behaviors. Detecting deception is a challenging but essential skill for uncovering hidden agendas. It involves paying attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, such as inconsistencies in a person's story, changes in their tone of voice, or shifts in their body language. It also involves being aware of common deception techniques, such as feigning innocence, deflecting attention, or attacking the accuser. By honing our ability to detect deception, we can become more discerning in our interactions with others and more resistant to manipulation. This can involve seeking out expert advice on deception detection, practicing active listening skills, and developing a healthy skepticism towards claims that seem too good to be true. The concept of psychological projection also illuminates the complexities of hidden agendas. Psychological projection is a defense mechanism in which individuals attribute their own unacceptable thoughts, feelings, or motives to others. This can lead individuals to accuse others of the very behaviors that they themselves are engaging in. For example, a person who is secretly harboring feelings of jealousy might accuse their partner of being jealous. Understanding psychological projection is essential for recognizing hidden agendas because it can help us to identify the underlying motivations behind people's accusations and criticisms. By being aware of this defense mechanism, we can avoid being drawn into unproductive conflicts and focus on addressing the root causes of the problem. It also requires self-reflection to ensure we aren't projecting our own insecurities onto others. Finally, the social context in which interactions take place can significantly influence the likelihood of hidden agendas. In environments where competition is fierce and trust is low, individuals are more likely to engage in manipulative or deceptive behaviors. This can be particularly true in organizations where there is a strong emphasis on individual achievement and a lack of accountability. Creating a culture of transparency, trust, and ethical behavior is essential for minimizing the prevalence of hidden agendas. This requires establishing clear guidelines for conduct, promoting open communication, and holding individuals accountable for their actions. It also requires fostering a sense of psychological safety, where individuals feel comfortable speaking up and challenging the status quo. By creating a supportive and ethical environment, we can discourage the pursuit of hidden agendas and promote more collaborative and productive relationships. Consider the cutthroat world of corporate politics, a breeding ground for hidden agendas where individuals often prioritize personal advancement over collective success. Imagine a scenario where a senior manager, let's call him Mr. Thompson, is outwardly supportive of a junior employee, Sarah, who has a promising innovative project. He praises her work in meetings, offers guidance, and seems genuinely invested in her success. However, beneath this veneer of mentorship lies a hidden agenda. Mr. Thompson recognizes Sarah's potential as a threat to his own position and influence within the company. His outwardly supportive behavior is a calculated strategy to subtly undermine her project and sabotage her career. He might, for example, offer seemingly helpful suggestions that subtly steer the project in the wrong direction, leading to delays and setbacks. He might also withhold crucial resources or information, making it more difficult for Sarah to succeed. He does all of this while maintaining a facade of support, making it difficult for Sarah to discern his true intentions. This is a classic example of Machiavellianism in the workplace, where individuals use manipulation and deceit to achieve their own goals, often at the expense of others. Mr. Thompson's actions are driven by a desire to maintain his power and status, and he is willing to sacrifice Sarah's career to achieve this goal. Furthermore, Mr. Thompson might engage in a subtle campaign of character assassination, spreading rumors or making disparaging remarks about Sarah behind her back. He might subtly question her competence or her commitment to the company, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of her colleagues and superiors. These subtle attacks are designed to erode Sarah's credibility and undermine her support base. By isolating Sarah and diminishing her reputation, Mr. Thompson hopes to eliminate her as a potential rival. The insidious nature of this type of hidden agenda makes it particularly difficult to detect and combat. Mr. Thompson is careful to avoid making any overt or easily provable accusations, relying instead on subtle innuendo and carefully crafted remarks. He operates in the shadows, making it difficult for Sarah to defend herself against his attacks. The consequences of Mr. Thompson's actions can be devastating for Sarah. Not only does her project suffer, but her confidence and morale are also eroded. She may begin to question her own abilities and doubt her future prospects within the company. The stress and anxiety caused by Mr. Thompson's manipulations can also take a toll on her physical and mental health. This scenario illustrates the importance of being aware of hidden agendas in the workplace and developing strategies for protecting yourself from manipulative individuals. It also highlights the need for organizations to create a culture of transparency, trust, and accountability, where such behaviors are discouraged and addressed. The game of hidden agendas is not about overt hostility. It's about the subtle dance of influence, the careful placement of doubt, and the erosion of another's position through indirect means. It's a war fought with whispers and glances, where the true objective is concealed beneath a veneer of civility. Think of it as a complex equation, where each statement, each action, is a variable designed to manipulate the outcome. The skilled player understands that direct confrontation often backfires, revealing their intentions and giving the target a chance to defend themselves. Instead, they opt for a more insidious approach, carefully crafting a narrative that serves their interests, even if it means sacrificing the truth. This requires a keen understanding of human psychology, an ability to anticipate reactions, and a willingness to exploit vulnerabilities. The manipulator is a master of emotional leverage, knowing how to push buttons, exploit insecurities, and create a sense of unease that undermines the target's confidence. Consider the seemingly innocuous comment, the backhanded compliment, or the subtly dismissive gesture. These may appear insignificant in isolation, but when combined, they can create a cumulative effect that chips away at a person's self-worth and professional standing. The manipulator excels at plausible deniability, ensuring that their actions can always be explained away as a misunderstanding or an innocent mistake. This makes it incredibly difficult to call them out, as they can simply feign innocence and accuse their accuser of being paranoid or overly sensitive. The art of the hidden agenda lies in its ambiguity, its ability to operate in the gray areas of social interaction. It's about creating a climate of uncertainty, where the target is constantly second-guessing themselves and questioning the motives of others. This can lead to a state of chronic anxiety and paranoia, making it difficult for the target to function effectively. The workplace is a fertile ground for hidden agendas, as it is a space where individuals are often competing for resources, recognition, and advancement. The pursuit of these goals can lead some individuals to engage in manipulative tactics, using others as pawns in their own personal games. This can create a toxic environment where trust is eroded and collaboration becomes difficult. It's important to recognize that hidden agendas are not always malicious in intent. Sometimes they stem from insecurity, a desire to protect oneself, or a fear of vulnerability. However, regardless of the underlying motivation, the consequences of these actions can be damaging to both the target and the organization as a whole. The ability to detect and neutralize hidden agendas is a critical skill for anyone navigating the complexities of social interaction, particularly in professional settings. It requires a combination of emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and a willingness to challenge assumptions. Learning to identify the subtle cues, the inconsistencies in behavior, and the hidden motives behind seemingly innocent actions is paramount. This involves paying close attention to both verbal and nonverbal communication, as well as the context in which interactions occur. It also requires a deep understanding of power dynamics and the ways in which individuals use their influence to manipulate others. The best defense against hidden agendas is transparency and open communication. Creating a culture where individuals feel safe to express their concerns and challenge assumptions can help to expose manipulative tactics and prevent them from taking root. It's also important to establish clear boundaries and expectations, ensuring that everyone is aware of the acceptable standards of behavior. Furthermore, cultivating a strong sense of self-awareness and emotional resilience can help to protect oneself from the negative effects of manipulation. Knowing your own vulnerabilities and triggers can make you less susceptible to the tactics of those who seek to exploit them. Remember, every interaction is a negotiation, every conversation a potential battleground. The world is filled with individuals who seek to gain an advantage, to manipulate situations to their benefit. Recognize the subtle signs, the whispers in the dark, the unspoken desires that drive their actions. Analyze their movements, anticipate their strategies, and prepare your defenses. The key to victory is not to engage in their game, but to expose it, to shed light on their hidden agendas and reveal their true intentions.